today on this very special debate at the World Economic Forum. We're going to talk about, does India have any hopes of becoming a manufacturing hub of the world, just like it has for the service sector? My panelist, Neeraj Kanwar, Vice Chairman and Managing Director of Apollo Tyres, Dhruv Sahni, Triveni Engineering, CMD, and Arindam Bhattacharya, Managing Partner of the Boston Consulting Group. Gentlemen, thank you very much. I could already see before we started the discussion, Arindam is on one side and the manufacturing big corporates on the other side. Let me start with you, Neeraj. The more and more I hear and I read, I get the sense that we fairly lost out that race of becoming big when it comes to manufacturing.
Yeah, I think, I'd like to lead the discussion by really dividing it into two aspects of manufacturing. One is competitiveness. Are we competitive when you look at the global arena? And do we have the potential to become a hub for manufacturing? On the potential side, we've seen in the automotive sector, a lot of companies have come and made their hubs over here. We've seen a lot of technology coming in on the automotive sector. So there is a potential, and let's not forget, we are a large domestic market, consuming market. So there is a lot of inherent potential in the country. But on the negative side of competitiveness and why we are losing the edge as we go along, as you see, for the past 5 years, manufacturing still is 16% of the GDP. The Prime Minister's agenda is very clear to make it 25%, but how? I think how is the big question when our labor laws are very, very tight. We are not allowed any movement as far as labor laws are concerned. Our duty structures are very, very stringent in terms of imports. Our logistics and supply chain entire system of the infrastructure is so poor that it really does not allow us to become a competitive edge over even countries in the ASEAN continent. May it be Thailand, may it be Vietnam, may it be the Philippines. I'm not even including China in this because China is a totally different story.
Right, so it's way ahead. But if you compare it to other Asian economies as well, whether it's Korea or Taiwan, Dhruv, do we get the sense that we are way behind and all the factors that Neeraj has outlined is holding us back a lot?
Well, I have a little different take on it, and it really depends on sector to sector. There's some manufacturing sectors which are more mass scale, and I don't have the domain knowledge too much on that. But I can give some examples of our sector, which is power generation, small power generation equipment. And here, India has become a manufacturing hub. Now, we in Triveni have a joint venture with GE. It's actually a subsidiary of Triveni Turbines. And Bangalore is the manufacturing hub globally. So GE sells turbines manufactured by the JV in Bangalore internationally, and Triveni sells them in India. So they use their brand name to sell these turbines. So if we were not both meeting the environmental quality and the compliance standards
at
the global level, they would not be able to use their huge brand, $100 billion brand.
So what are you doing differently, Dhruv?
No, so I'm saying, and one of my competitors is Siemens, which is a huge multinational, which has now indigenized the manufacture of 150 megawatt up to, and they're selling from India into their joint venture in Indonesia. Now, what has happened is that this space, which is engineered to order, it's much better. The experience that Siemens had in China, where they're very big and they have joint ventures, so does GE, has not been very good.
Okay.
Secondly, in our line, we have done our competitiveness. We are about 15 to 20% cheaper than Latin America, which is mainly Brazil. We are actually about 10% cheaper than China. And selling into China, you're about 30% cheaper. Now, what happens here? You have a very large talent pool in engineering. So if a company does a lot of value engineering and R&D here, real R&D, then you have the possibility of saving costs and moving. Secondly, you have to look at the supply chain base globally. You may be the manufacturing hub, but if you like a valve which is better in Poland, then you should get it from Poland.
Right.
So you shouldn't think of India as a little island. It may be the hub of it, but you have to look at it from a global perspective. So if you have basic engineering and R&D and global sourcing, I think the entrepreneurship that our workforce has is very key. But that's not taking away from the fact that the environment doesn't help you.
It doesn't encourage
Yes.
manufacturing.
So it's really very much individual. The labor productivity you have to work very hard on.
Right.
So if you have very much on a workforce, it's pretty bad. We use a lot of suppliers who we work with because we don't want to have a huge concentration all in one. So we actually use that as an alternative.
As a risk mitigation strategy of
Yeah.
just spreading out.
And which is
amongst
not
lots of
the
areas.
real way to go. You know, you want to be able to do both.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app. Fully optimized for Retina display. Full screen view. Faster response time. And Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.